To begin, Trevor, the question is, are you from Beggs? And if not, how long have you lived in our community?
I've lived here since I moved to Beggs in 2003 when I was in the 3rd grade. I moved out in, probably I can't remember, but I've been here for the majority of my life, and
So the question is, are you from here? Continuing, if not, how long have you lived in our community?
I've lived here for a total of probably 14 years overall. I am not from here. I was originally from the Tulsa area, but me and my family moved down here in 2003. We had moved to Tulsa for a short time, lived there for a while, and I moved back to Beggs because I love this town and I'm going to try to make a difference.
Moving along with Melton, the question is, are you from Beggs? If not, how long have you lived in our community?
Sorry, I'm a standard. Anyways, like I said, I've lived here at Beggs for 18 years, or 18 plus years. I've had 2 sons that graduated from here. I'm not originally from this town, but I have lived in this town for several years, and I've also been on the council for a couple of years, and was president of council. Other than that.
I was not born in Beggs. I am not from Beggs. I was actually born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at good old St. Francis Hospital. So that's where I was from. I went to Union High School. The reason why I moved to Beggs was because I wanted a place to raise a family. I'm 26 years old. I bought a piece of property. I got a cool car. You may have seen it around town before. And so I've checked a couple different boxes off my list, and the next one was raise a family. So I wanted to find a town where, for one, I could make a home. That was number one. Then number two, bring my kid, if I have kids, I don't have any right now, but have a place where they can grow and they can thrive. They have a great school here. That was another big thing, is education. And so I wanted them to be involved in a community that wasn't as big as Tulsa. I went to a graduating class of 1,200 people. I fell asleep in my graduation. I mean, there was a lot of kids there, and it wasn't very intertwined with the faculty or the community itself, and I wanted somewhere where I could plug in and also have my family plug in as well. Oh, sorry. And I moved here in June of last year.
All right, Dave. The question is, are you from Beggs? And if not, how long have you lived in our community?
We're doing the introduction all over again. So I am from Beggs. I grew up here. My dad's been a business owner here since I've been alive, other than 8 years. And I moved off to serve in the Navy. And like I said, I moved back, and ever since I've been back, I worked for the city Public Works Department. I decided to move up from that to the council, and now I'm trying to move up to that. I've been on the fire department. I love to serve the community, so this is home.
Next question. When does the elected candidate take office? Yes, the question is, when does the elected candidate take office?
I'll be honest, I really didn't look ahead that far. I didn't know the election is on April 6th, and I would urge everybody to please get out and vote. Your vote matters, and voting is very, very important. So please get out and vote on April 6th, and vote for Trevor Meyer.
No, the question is, when does the elected candidate take office?
Well, first of all, they have to be elected. Then they have to be sworn into office. And it's usually after the meeting, if someone's elected with more than 51% in April, then Ms. Bell, which is the mayor, would then conduct a meeting in April, and then the next person would come in May.
Will we need the next question?
I have a question. The mayor would take seat 2 weeks after the election on that Monday at noon.
Yeah, Branson.
Willy is correct with that. It's 2 weeks after the election, Monday at noon, the mayor will take seat then, and and the mayor's first official meeting will be the May meeting.
Moving right along, the next question is, what are your plans when it comes to? So the question is, what are your plans when it comes to communication?
Well, I would, of course, invite people to come to our meetings. I would try to make that as public as possible, and I would also think about live streaming our meetings. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I have really no experience whatsoever. I just want to make a difference at all. I have, as far as experience and business and stuff like that, I have no experience. I'm hoping I can get elected and if so, make a difference at this town meeting. Thank you.
The second question is, what are your plans when it comes to communication with the communities? Emergency alerts, community events, city council notifications, open seats, meetings, and action.
Well, specifically, I cannot, how would I say, I could not pick one or the other. I try to figure out a way to make some sort of a database system that can reach out and connect to everyone as much as possible.
Question. So, I understand we have a live stream right here. I think that is awesome. That's a great step in the right direction. I didn't know you were going to do that today, so I took a step for the community, regardless if it was going to happen or not. About 3 rows back, I have Cindy Bilac. She's actually recording right now and doing a live stream as well. And if that wasn't recorded, that was going to be posted in the Beggs community page. I also have 3 cameras surrounding us, videotaping this as well, which will be in a documentary after this. So then the whole community can not only see the live stream, which I don't think is that good of quality. If anyone's been on Facebook and watched the live stream, it's not that good of quality. And so with the meetings and different notifications and things, I think video is very, very important. That's how I communicate my message every single day on TV. I also have a radio program, which gets the message out as well. But I think communication. It not only helps the city work better, but it helps the community not be upset, not knowing what's going on. So my plan would be to videotape meetings, edit them, which I do myself, and then put them out to the public so they can see them not only when the meeting happens, but it'll also be a record for the community forever after that.
What else is?
As far as communication goes, I know we've a lot of experiences since I've been back home here for over almost 4 years now. That we have water outages and things like that. I feel like we're communicating to the community very well. So I would like to change that by adapting and utilizing the same system that the county uses, which is the code red, to inform all of our residents when the water's going to be off, how long it's going to be off, what areas it affects. And as far as meetings go, our council meetings, I've been on council for 2 years now. They're open to public. I don't know if everybody knows that or not, but anybody can come to those. They're open, completely. Anybody that wants to be there, come and watch it, and get all the information that way. And also, I agree with communication. From the military, communication is key. I know we've been lacking in that area of big time. That's my number one thing there, is to make everything visible to the residents of the community. So instead of you just go to your water tap and turning it on, and there being no water, at least you'll know that, hey, our water's going to be off for X amount of hours until we repair.
Moving on, the next question from the community is, what is your party affiliation? I think it's fair to assume the clarification of what
I'm a registered Republican. I'm a registered Republican. I really don't know what else to say about that.
Mrs. Melton?
I am a registered Democrat, but this term, due to transparency and everything else, I'll be honest, I voted Republican, so that's what it is.
I'm a red-blooded Republican, and I love Trump.
I'm a Republican, but at the end of the day, what's up? I believe what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. A lot of times we're voting on stuff. That's kind of what we have to look at too. Who's going to do the best job no matter what party they're at. So that's how I do
code or stuff like that, I would instruct our chief or whoever I would have to talk to that those people need to be fined, and if they need to cut their yards and they need to be fined. That's all we really say about that.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, in order for things to get done properly, we need a code enforcement. Because we are just, one, trying to do things right, and then when people make complaints or something, I can only do so much. Or whoever is the mayor and the person can only do so much. But you need a code enforcement to help you please get it done.
So with enforcement, as mayor, your job is you're the CEO of this town, you're a representative of this town, and you're also in charge of making sure things get done in this town. So if you're not making sure those codes are being enforced and those laws are being upheld, you are quite literally not doing your job time. And so for one, I think it's going to take a real leader that's going to stand up and have no prejudice towards anyone, which being from out of town, I don't know a lot of people, and so guess what? I have zero prejudice towards you, and you. And so if you're not enforcing something, I think the first question is why? Sometimes people do have hardships in life. Whenever I first moved out here, guess what? I was push mowing my yard, and then I got a riding lawnmower. There were some weeks it was a little higher than others. It wasn't a code violation, but there might be serious problems with a family that can't mow their lawn. Maybe their lawnmower broke down. Maybe they can't afford a lawnmower. Getting to the root of the problem to see what the cause is, I think is number one. Then number two, like I said, is enforcing it. You are going to have a code. That's why it is a code, and that is why it's a law. It wasn't written there to look at and turn the other way because of this, that, and the other. You can try to help, and if there is a situation like that, maybe lend your lawnmower. See if there's some way that you might be able to help them. GoFundMe account. There's so many different ways, but I think the root is finding what the root cause of the problem is, and then once again, enforcing those codes themselves.
So, I'm going to kind of kill a few birds with one stone here. This will stop all the rumors that I'd like to do with the police department. That's not true at all. But as far as exhausting all resources, we don't need to waste money on code enforcement. We have a police department that can easily enforce the codes, and that's what they're paid to do. That's what I'd like to have them do. And enforce the codes. Not only that, again, if someone needs help, they need help. We can figure that out. But at the end of the day, my goal is to enforce cleanliness. There's already ordinance in place for cleanliness and yards and everything. It needs to be enforced. And that's my goal, is to enforce it. And if people don't get it done, give them a warning. After the warning, give them a citation. And after that, we're going to hire someone to have it done. And then we're going to put a lien on their property. And then we're going to go ahead and auction it off.
Next question. What are your plans with the armory and old vacant buildings?
I would just have to look into that and see what can be done. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know what I could do about it because I'm not sure, really, to be honest. The time that question caught me off guard there a little bit.
The question is, what are your plans with the armory and old vacant buildings?
We do have, regarding the armory and the old vacant buildings, we do have several of those. But first of all, you have to contact who owns them to work with them, and if they're on the National Historical Society or not. There are pros and cons and different protocols that you have to go through. But if you like it, like I say, we'll do the best I can. Thank you.
Myself personally, whenever I see an open building, I see that as an open door and an open opportunity. You're exactly right. You do have to work with the owner of that property, but if it's vacant, why? If they're sitting on it for an investment, that's one reason, but if it's just vacant because someone doesn't want to move in, that's a whole other issue. I've talked to many different businesses that are interested in moving into this town, if elected, and that's how I want to fill those buildings, with businesses that are producing income for this town.
As far as the old armory goes, it's not on the National Historic List. There's nothing that says you can't sell it. At one point, I'll be honest, it was one of those buildings that I would want to keep, but it's gotten to the point now, it's becoming more of a safety hazard. Kids are getting in there, they're going to get hurt, and then it's a city liability. It's our property. So now it's gotten to the point it does need to be sold. The city will profit off of it. I've talked to several businesses that would like to buy that lot and put their business here because their kids go to school here, because it is a great school, and their business is outside of Beggs, and they want to move it to Beggs to help the community. And as far as the other ones go, it goes back to the cleanliness and enforcing, you know, it's a dilapidated, abandoned property, and we need to address that, start citing them, and after that, they don't do nothing about it, we'll do it for them, and we'll put a lien against it, and we'll own it, and auction it off. We're a business, and once it could come in, we'll open up a business.
The next question is, in years past, people who care about Beggs try to make an effort to improve the appearance of the town. This was met with a certain amount of hesitation from city officials. Is this something you would welcome?
Yes, this is something I would welcome, and as far as like the code enforcement, like people need to mow their lawns, this and that, if not, give them a warning, like Mr. Branson said, and fine them. That would help the appearance, enforcing those kind of codes and laws, and just work to try to improve. I'm not sure who's in charge of the roads, but just try to help make the roads better. The roads are in a little bit of bad shape, but I'm going to try to do the best I can and see what happens. Thanks.
The question is, in years past, people who care about Beggs try to make an effort to improve the appearance of the town. This was met with a certain amount of hesitation from city officials. Is this something you would welcome?
Yes, I agree. I believe beautifying your city should be a priority. When people come into town, you want people to think that this is a nice town, a nice, beautiful town. You would want to have pride in where you come from, where you're at. So yes.
Myself personally, yes, I would obviously want to improve the town. My next question would be, who asked that question? Because who on the city department would not want to see Beggs improve? I mean, everyone wants to see this town get better, and maybe in a different way, shape, or form, but I would probably say there's an underlying issue of why they weren't allowed to go out and weed the street or do whatever self-improvement that they were talking about. So would I welcome that? Absolutely. Now, based on that question, I would say there's probably some underlying factors of why they weren't able to go to those improvements.
So, I actually remember when that happened. I was part of that group trying to spend my Saturday and my own time picking up trash, city streets, weeding where stop signs and stuff work. And we were met with a pushback from the city at the time. And a lot of it was, there was a lot of information that city officials at the time didn't understand or know, and they were worried about a liability issue if someone got hurt, you know, who's going to be responsible, this and that. But I definitely would welcome it. I'll tie this in there, just like right now, as far as you get a citation in Beggs and you can't pay it, instead of just letting it go, hey, I'm all about community service, if it helps beautify our town, at least we're getting something out of it, especially for the younger kids, and instill responsibility in them. They get a speeding ticket in Beggs or whatnot, hey, you know what, all we need is a citizen of the community to watch them go out and pick up trash on the side of the road. I'll go out there with them. I've spent many times out there on the side of the road picking up trash. And also the cemetery, we got a cemetery community. I think it's a great deal, and it kind of fell through. I'd like to bring that back, because again, that helps free up our city workers, where they can focus more on water lines and stuff of that nature. Or if we have volunteers in a group out of the community that would like to go out there and help, that takes, hey, this is all our town. One team, one fight. So.
Next question, do you have an issue forming a cemetery committee and giving that committee a level of access to improving taking care of Beggs?
No, I don't have an issue with that. In the past, we've had issues with stuff being, just looking a little rough, not being weeded around, all stuff. I'm not sure who would be in charge of that, but like he said, I wouldn't have an issue with forming a committee like that. And I think that should be something that should be looked into.
The question is, do you have an issue forming a cemetery committee and giving that committee a level of access to improve things?
No, I don't. I think there should be a committee developed. I look at it this way: the better the city, the more labor team you have to help create and make the cemetery better, the better off the city will be. So working together as a team, just like Chamber of Commerce has their own, the cemetery has their own, and you do your thing, they do their thing. That's how I see it. Thank you.
I myself would not have a problem with that committee. I think it's, like what Mr. Branson was saying, it's going to take a leader to step up and actually do that committee and actually take a leadership role in running that. If you don't have that, then it's pushing our city workers doing mindless tasks and what's taking away from their day-to-day job, which I think we would all rather than be working on the water and different things of that nature versus holding a weed. Most of the people in this community have family members over there. There's people that want to help this community, not just at this table. I think most of you want to help this community, that's why you came here. And so if we have people that want to help the community gather together and actually take some action, I think it'd be a great idea that can bring a lot of benefit, not just to the cemetery, but other different communities throughout the town, like with improving, with weeding around stop signs, picking up trash, different things like that, taking initiative and actually taking that yourself and putting one of those instruments in your hand and doing it, I think that will create a lot of change. And I don't know why, as a mayor, I would ever want to hold that back.
So, back to what I said, this is the previous question. I would definitely welcome that on board. I think it'd be a great thing. A little bit of history. When I was growing up, I'm not saying people didn't care then, but we didn't have as much people that seem to want to make a difference now as we do now. And I think it's great. So I think there's room to grow there, and it'll do nothing but get bigger. So I was more than welcome the community that wanted to take care of the cemetery. And also, I knew down they used to do adopt the highways for city streets. People that if they wanted to take that on, and hey, I live on this street, so I'll help make sure it stays clean from this block to this block or whatever. I think that would be a great thing.
Next question, what are your plans to fix and improve roads and infrastructure in our community?
I would have, if elected, I would have to look into it, but one plan I would have is communicate with I believe our county commissioner, Ron Ballard, and see if there's anything we can do together and help improve some of these rough roads that are around here that I've heard people talk about, and the roads. Mainly the city, I don't know if it's him, I don't know if it's the county or the city, I don't know who's supposed to do it, but I would sure look into it and we look at improving the road condition.
Question is, what are your plans to fix and improve roads and infrastructure?
At the moment, I don't have plans, but being resourceful is another thing. Our county commissioner's over there, granted, this is a city. He also used to be on the council and all the good stuff. I've known Ron for years. And so, being resourceful, we also have some Square Creek Nation within our boundaries. We have other venues and there's grants we can write to help make the city better. I say being resourceful and knowledgeable about getting to other people and make grants. That will help. Thank you.
So with the road infrastructure, that's not necessarily a full city problem. While it does involve the city, that doesn't necessarily totally fall on the city. So communication with the county would be key. Now, other infrastructure, like I said, if we could go out there and improve the water system right now and never have another problem, I'm sure we'd be doing it. But once again, that comes down to money. So I want to bring money to this town. One thing you can do is bring entertainment to this town. I've been here for quite some time, and it's, you have the Groundhog Club, you have football games, but there's not concerts, there's not different things to bring people from outside the town here. Once you have people coming from outside the town, they're going to be buying at the general store, they're going to be going to Schaefer's, they're going to be going to the gas station, buying all those different products, which goes right back to the city. So I want to bring people and businesses to create that revenue to improve the infrastructure. Now, how and what project, it just depends on how much money we make. But I like making money, and that's what I've done for a long time.
So, back to the roads in the city. Right now, it does fall on the county. I think I can communicate well with the county. I think that is important, having a good relation as the mayor and the county commissioner need to be able to communicate and work well with each other. That would help get a lot of stuff done. And, excuse me, I'm sorry. Also, there are grants that I'm sure the city can qualify for because of our size and stuff that the county can't qualify for. And it might help get more money for our streets that the county would be willing to let us do or help us with. And also, there's days where I know if our city guys aren't busy and they don't have nothing to do, I know Mr. Ballard, I'm sure as long as we're helping him out by coming to get equipment or whatever we need to fix the road, it would help lighten his load while his guys are busy. all about
The next question is, the Beggs Chamber does a lot for our town. We have coined the term hashtag Build Beggs. To build out community in the thriving town we know it can be. If elected, would you be involved in our organization, and what would you like to see happen in the town?
If elected, I would like to see businesses such as Mr. Willy, he's mentioned bringing businesses, which will bring revenue into the town. That's something I would like to do. But it all comes down to, like you all said, money. I was just like, in one of the questions earlier, code enforcement, people mowing their lawns, if not, give a warning, a fine, and like Mr. Branson mentioned, maybe work comes to work, put a lien up against the property, and then just go from there and see what's happening. Improve the town and make businesses want to come in.
Question. The Beggs Chamber does a lot for our town. We have coined the term hashtag Build Beggs. To build out our community with a thriving town building. If elected, would you be involved with our organization, and would you like to see, what would you like to see happen there?
Yes, I'd like to be involved. Everybody needs to learn to work together. And what it's called, building for better for Beggs.
Build Beggs.
Build Beggs better. Anyways, yes. First of all, I'd like to say I'd like to work with them, get to know exactly what each one is about, what they're wanting to do, come to their meetings, see what they think, maybe do a feasibility study. And that's the business of it. And see where we need to go from there. Because we can't go from saying we want a business here, and we need a business there, we need to do that, because we got to work together as a team, as one. And in order for us to make our town become strengthening more.
Well, I guess I'm taking that as an open invitation. So, yeah, sure, I accept it. But then also, yeah, I would definitely like to work with them. One thing I think the chamber, they're doing so good with events and things, but it's not getting out there to the public. And so, obviously, we have a great community here. We want to see a lot of people coming to those events themselves, but it's reaching to those outside cities and bring them in. And then they fall in love with Beggs, move here and stay here. So, that's going to be a lasting thing. So, I think the poster is great. It's telling about, this event and stuff. Why don't you tell the news about it? Do a news release. I do promotions for a living. That's what I've done forever. And I think there's a lot of different ways to really promote this town to get the message out of what we're trying to do, get more people here, and the different activities that we do have and that you guys are planning.
First and foremost, the chamber's doing a great job. I know there for a while, some of y'all that are from here have been around here for a long time. The chamber was, I guess what you call dormant, and a lot of people didn't even know we still had a chamber. But it was technically still there, there were still members, and it was looked at, it's been taken over, and I think they've done a great job of hosting events throughout Beggs. I think our Christmas parade last year has been one of the biggest and longest that we've had in Beggs history. I think it was close to 45 minutes long, which is pretty good. If you look at some of the other cities like Old Bogey and some of the other places, theirs was nowhere near that long. So I think that's a great thing. I'm all about events in Beggs. It does help bring in other people that are not familiar with Beggs, and they see it, and they're like, hey, I want to taste that small town vibe. I like it. So I'm all about it. I think it'd be a great deal, and I'd like to work well with any organization, not just any community out there doing it.
Real quick, follow up on Ken. As president of the chamber, I would like to extend an invitation to all 4 candidates to come to our meetings. We meet the third Thursday of every month. Whether you're mayor or not, we would love to have you on board. And if you live in the community, if you've got access to advertising and getting the word out, we'd love to have you there to help you. Anyway, question is, have you ever been on the city council or planning board? And if so, why did you quit or not run?
I've never been on city council or anything like that. Like I said earlier, I had no experience. I'm just here trying to make a difference.
Question is, have you ever been on the city council or planning and zoning? And if so, why did you quit or not run?
Yes, I was on the city council for 2 years, and I was also president council. I was also on the planning and zoning committee. a new person wants to come in and take over, which Jacob wanted the position, and so we just, I thought there was so much going on in the community, so I'd let it be and give the next person the opportunity.
I have not been involved, so I have not played.
So I've been on the council for 2 years. I've not quit until the next seat. I plan on having the seat at least open until I'm elected. I would like to appoint someone to that seat that's in Ward 4. And since I've been on the council, I'll take this time and I've helped push through a grant that was over $100,000 to help with our main water line. And so we got that going. And that's what's happened since I've been on council. Other than that, I'm not doing anything. I'm not stepping down from anything.
The next question is, have any of the candidates been to a city council meeting, chamber, or planning and zoning meeting?
I've only been to one meeting, and I believe that was last Thursday. And as far as that, that's really all I got.
Yes, I've gone to several community meetings or city meetings. I was part of the city hall at one time with the Willy council. And yes, I've attended a lot of chamber meetings prior to the new people on board. There was a lot of disorganized things going on. So, but other than that, I see that it's came back to what it should be.
No, I have not attended any of these said meetings.
I'll make this short. I've been to every meeting from on the council, so I have to be there. Even if I didn't have to be there, I'd still be there because I care about our community.
Move on to the next question is, what will you do to reduce criminal activity in Beggs? As an example, drug trafficking, theft, and vandalism.
I'll just instruct our officers to just be vigilant and just if they see something going on, just investigate it. I'm not really knowledgeable in any of these areas. I just do the best I can is all I can do.
The question is, what will you do to reduce criminal activity in Beggs? As an example, drug trafficking, theft, and vandalism.
Sorry, I can't really answer this. I'm not a police officer. But I can say if you have neighborhood watches and things, other than that, I leave it to the police. Wouldn't want to put myself at risk.
So I think communication would be key. Number one, I think I would need to have a conversation with the police department to see why are these things happening. I don't think there's any police officer in America that wants to see crime happening right underneath their nose. So I would need to see where the faults and failures are and then see what we can do to improve those. I think our officers are doing an excellent job, but there's obviously something missing in this puzzle. So we need to find that missing puzzle piece and implement it there. Also, due diligence in the community. I think community awareness of who to contact and when something happens would also be another thing that the community needs to know. They may know it, but reminding someone can also bring it fresh in your mind, and I think that would cut back on a lot of problems as well.
First and foremost, don't take this as the way I'm saying our police departments are not doing their job at all. I know they are. I know they're out there. But vigilance is one thing, them being present in the community. This goes back to being in the military, wearing a uniform. Seeing a uniform that deters a lot of people, seeing the cop car sit there, looking to do the speed trap that deters people from speeding. As far as who to communicate, you can always pick up the phone, call 911. I guarantee if someone will answer, they will be there, no matter what the problem is, whether it's a theft problem, breaking, entering, fire, whatever. That communication is always there. And if there's anything else, you can always reach out to the City Hall, make a complaint, make a statement, and I guarantee an officer will look into it.
The next question is, what will you do to improve the water situation?
I'd like to look into possibly, I've had this conversation with many people I ran into at the store and stuff like that. I haven't guaranteed anybody anything. I would look into possibly lowering maybe the water bill just a little bit. I don't think that's something I could probably do. I would have to get in there, look at the numbers. If the numbers would support what I would like to do, I would love to do it. If they don't, then I would have to leave it the way it is. And then, that's it, really.
Stuff doesn't happen overnight. We all know grant writing and grants itself. Coming from the government does take time, but that's the way to start.
Grants are a great way to get funding. I think that's very key and important, but I think also at the base, the leadership of the water department and employees themselves are another key feature. So I talked to a couple different city water employees, and they have voiced many different problems about the city working against them necessarily and not helping them. And I want to help those workers to see what can be done. They're in the trenches quite literally every single day working on this stuff, so they do it a whole lot better than me, and more than likely a whole lot better than yourself. And so I want to talk to these employees and then work with them to see how we can improve that and use the revenue created in this town to help improve those situations, but not just replacement, but also preventative maintenance, I think is key.
So again, talking about this grant earlier, we just got it. It's going to help replace the main line from water treatment plant all the way down to the pump house. Also, I work at Public Works. I work there for over a year. I work for Matt, which is the supervisor. I think he's a great guy. He's got a lot. He's put in a lot of time. He's put in time that he had to put on his time card to help keep the water going just for the city. So I think good infrastructure there is a great key. Communication and also accountability. If those guys need something, I know when I worked there in the past, we couldn't go get whatever we needed. I think tools and equipment are very important. If you don't have good equipment and good tools, you can't do the job. Also, when you're done with that stuff, it can be put up, taken care of. I'm not saying that's what's going on now, but I think it can be improved. That would help make everybody's job, especially Matt and all the other technicians' job way easier. I have a good relationship with the guys from OWRA, which is Oklahoma Water Rural Resource. I know we can get grants through them. We need to update our water treatment plant. I know they have some great grants for that. Our water treatment plant's a dinosaur. Those things have been out there since it was built. I've talked to those guys. They're willing to come in and help us and help modernize that stuff and make it better for us.
Next question is, what are your ideas of building revenue for the community?
I believe Willy has touched on this earlier. Bringing in businesses, which will create more revenue for the city. With bringing more businesses, host events, people coming in, see this and like, hey, I want to, move here, or maybe stuff like that. Just somehow attract people to come to Beggs, see all the different things going on. As we got the store, they'll stop in it. Just bring in people.
The question is, what are your ideas of building revenue for the community?
Like I said earlier, feasibility study. You gotta have a good business management somewhere, work with each other, try to make things work. I'm going to tell you now that I am business savvy. I will not make promises I cannot keep. I will tell you that straightforward. I am not going to stay here and tell you what this person needs to do, that person needs to do. I will tell you that what you see is what you get. And I will do the best I can, but I will not make promises.
Here, your question. The question is, what are your ideas of building revenue?
Revenue. So that starts with people. For one, I think concerts are a great way to get revenue. So you can get sales tax from people, but you're talking about pennies and cents. I'm talking about dollars. If you have a concert where you're charging $10, $20 a ticket, and you get people coming from outside of town, and you do that by 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, those numbers skyrocket. And that's a direct impact to the city. Another thing is also bringing those businesses in. Now, we do have some problems within town. We talked about improving inside the city. You have to have a reason for people to move here, and I'm the reason. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of different businesses in this town who are willing to move to Beggs if the right people are in charge. So I want to bring businesses which are not only going to help the services of Beggs, but also increase revenue. One thing I think would be a great idea is a liquor store impact.
I'm going to keep it short and simple on this. Cleaning up the town is our first step to bringing businesses in. There's several people who want to open businesses up here, but when they drive through certain areas, they see dilapidated properties. I'm not talking about residents that actually live here. I'm talking about the properties that are abandoned right now. They see that and they're like, man, I really don't want to open a business here because I'm going to be right next to that. So I think going back to enforcing that and getting those taken care of will help open up to businesses
The next question is, how do you plan to address the boundary lines for the town of Beggs? By this, we mean, how do you plan to draw a definitive city boundary?
If elected, I would just have to meet with the city council and see what we can do for that to happen. I'm not really sure how all that works. I've been this time and again, I have no experience. I just try to do the best job I can for you all. And like Branson said, we're all in this together. We're a community. It's about the people. It's about teamwork and like this Melton has said, and I believe it's really communication.
So the question is, how do you plan to address the boundary lines for the town of Beggs? And by this, we mean, how do you plan to draw a definitive?
We do have a city boundary code line. It's in our abstract. We have, the city itself has boundary lines. Now we can change it if we need to, through council, or the people, and annex if we need to. Other than that, we do have our own city area. It's been mapped.
As just stated, there is already these boundaries in place. We don't live in the Wild West where you can just roam free. These boundaries are already in place, so if someone was wanting to expand or contract that, I would want to see the reasons why and act upon those reasons.
So I must say the boundaries are there. We have city limits all around. If we were to de-annex or annex any of that, the first step would be a public notice. Then we'd have to have a public hearing. And after the public hearing, then we'll go to council. And after that, they'll make the yes or no on it if we were to add it in to that boundary or